So I'm not associate professor of law in the Boyd School of Law. When you're associate, and you stay associate for 5 years and you go up to full. There's no intermediate, sort of associate and then up to full. So we have a 5-year format. We go from pre-tenured associate to full. Prior to that, for 5 years. So I was contract faculty for about 5 years, and I interviewed and converted to a tenure track position in 2016. So I'm coming up on mid-tenure this coming spring. And I have also been lucky enough in sort of the field that I'm in within the law to have a really supportive national community. So that's something I would suggest you take advantage of. It's something I have. I've gone to several writing workshops, both sort of initial writing workshops at the front end of a project, and then writing workshops where feedback and drafts were exchanged at the tail end of a project. But I think what we're talking about today is actually the project and how we get the project done. And so what I want to focus on is a strategy that's worked really well for me, and there's some scholarship on it. It's Paul Meyer's SMART theory of goal setting. And the SMART theory of goal setting suggests that when you set goals, and I find it to be very applicable to our scholarly work, when you set goals, those goals should be specific, so it's an acronym, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And seeing that one of the courses I teach in the law school is a writing course, it helps me to see my students in the process and see them in the struggle to motivate me to go through these particular steps. But I have some specific examples of sort of do's and don'ts. If you're using the SMART model, if you're setting goals using the SMART model, you can set long-term, large goals using SMART, or you can set smaller interim goals using the SMART method as well. So Marianne disappeared. So I'm on the screen. I'm going to keep talking. Oh, there she's back. So you can set, if you're thinking about big picture goals, and you say to yourself, I am going to write a 35-page article with 200 footnotes to these specific scholars on this specific topic. That's not a specific goal. That is too large, and it's a goal that begins to lack that achievability, the A of the SMART theory. If that's the kind of project you want to tackle, a 35-page article with X number of footnotes citing these specific scholars, a better goal would be to say, I am going to dedicate 2 hours, 3 times a week toward the achievement of that particular article. That is a specific goal, 2 hours, 3 times a week. It is measurable. You can measure it in the time spent, and it's achievable because we all know, well, we don't know it, but we have to make it such that we have those 2 hours, those 3 days a week, right? We have to carve that out, and that's something we can affirmatively do. With regard to short-term goals, if you're using SMART, if you say something like, I'm going to work on my article every day when I'm finished with my teaching. I'm going to work on my article every day when I'm finished with my grading. I'm going to work on my article every day when I'm finished with my committee work. That is not, again, certainly not an attainable goal, and it's not a measurable or a specific goal. It doesn't give you the parameters that fit into the SMART framework. The better approach, at least that I have found, is I will write 500 words a day while my article is in progress. I will commit 15 minutes every morning to writing while my article is in progress. So you have a specific, measurable, and attainable goal. The relevance I have found for myself isn't always quite as important. If I'm writing and I am in the flow of my writing and I think of something else that I need to look up, or a question I have, or an organizational structure that's bothering me, something I've learned with regard to relevance is to write myself an internal memo. I want to keep that writing relevant. I don't just want to be writing about something else when I have this specific goal, but I can stay relevant by writing a note to myself that says, Proposition X, find sources and support later, and bracket that and come back. Because if you leave what you're doing, go to the research, you're losing your specificity and your measurability of what you're trying to do. The final thing I want to talk about is that we can set these goals and we can use the SMART system, but we have to be self-motivated. That is the one thing about the academy. I left law practice to join the academy. Teaching, we don't have to be self-motivated. Our students motivate us, our deans motivate us, our schedule of when we teach motivates us. But our writing is something we really have to be self-motivated about. And if you struggle with that, my suggestion would be, and there's research that supports this, the more you use other people, the more productive you will be. And I don't mean use people in this nefarious sense. I mean rely on people and ask them to keep you accountable relentlessly, right? Relentless accountability. Find a mentor, be it here with the Faculty Development Fellows, in your own department or college. I have one right next door to me now. We have determined that we are writing 15 minutes a day on our non-teaching days. And we've committed to that. We're doing well, but we've promised each other that if we fall off and fail to do that, there will be a consequence. We will have to donate $1 every day, those days we miss, to a cause we really, really dislike. Or we will have to not have chocolate or your guilty pleasure TV, whatever it is. I like the $1 a day towards the cause you really dislike, because I really, really don't want to give money to X cause. But if I don't get my 15 minutes of writing done, you know, the NRA gets money or whatnot. So you think about those ways to motivate yourself. One final way that I like, and we'll probably talk about in our panel next week, is writing accountability groups. And people go about groups in different ways. Some people exchange drafts. Some people do substantive work within writing groups. I have found that just the proximity of other people writing motivates me to write, especially when it's specific, attainable, and measurable, as in we are going to meet Fridays at 2 and write for 2 hours. So those are some of my tips in a junior position to make sure that you give yourself the time that you need. And I like that idea, that it is a gift to yourself and your career. So thanks so much.